Hey, it's John Nolan here. One of the most important things in my life is the health and the well-being of my family. And one of the products that we absolutely love to use and have had amazing results with is Z-Stack. It's Dr. Zelenko's Immunobooster, and it really does the job absolutely well. Now, as most of you know, Dr. Zelenko recently passed away, but he's left behind a legacy with Z-Stack and his other products, and also the Dr. Zelenko Freedom Foundation. So every time you purchase Z-Stack to help boost your immune system and the immune system of your family, 10% of the profits will also automatically go to the Freedom Foundation. So I encourage you to check it out, Z-Stack by Dr. Zelenko. Use the link and the coupon code in the description, save, and also help the foundation. Do you feel alone in this awakening journey? Have you been waking up to the truths and realities, and even spiritually, but your family is not, your friends are not, and you're looking for like-minded people, but you don't know where to start? Then that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, and hitting the notifications button so you'll get notified about new videos. Okay, let's dive into it. This awakening journey is very beautiful. It's also very challenging because we find ourselves waking up to greater truths. We find ourselves gaining greater perspectives, and then the people around us so often are not, or at least they don't appear to be, and we feel isolated and alone. And one of the things we've been encouraging you all to do is connect and create groups and communities. But so many of you have asked us, where do I start and how do I do this? So let's get into it. Let's get into action. I call this the declaration of freedom. Okay, we're really taking action of freedom. One of the first things, before you go out and before you look for people that are like you and connect, and you have to be sure and begin creating a vision and a focus on what it is exactly that you would like to connect over. And that's what we call the vision work. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you just want to create a community of like-minded people, it's the same mindset. So we'd encourage you, go into meditation, walk, and write things out. Write out what your vision is. What is it that you would like to see? How would you feel? Would community help with that? What would you like to connect with other people over and talk about and create together? So think about necessities. We believe that these groups and communities, first and foremost, need to focus on basic needs for everyone. Because the systems are breaking down around us, these communities will help to kind of cushion the blow and create parallel systems that are already working. Food, water, shelter, structure, communication, power, those basic things, how can we provide that for ourselves? How can community help? Create that into your vision and focus plan, so when you begin talking to other people, you can articulate better what your vision is about. Of course, you will also mention all the other topics that you might now understand better, and they might see quote unquote conspiracies, non-conspiracies, and truths that will help create a connection. Also spiritually, this awakening helps with that. So how do you then actually begin connecting? You might want to determine first whether you want to meet at home with other people, or your garage maybe, or you want to meet in a public place, your rec center, your library. They usually have meeting rooms, churches maybe that would work in your area. There's plenty of places where someone can meet, restaurants, clubs, after hour, before hours, mornings. Determine, you can kind of get an idea on what you're prepared to do and how you want to approach this. You don't have to be a very outgoing person either. How do you go? You can go to farmers markets and start talking to people. When you feel a connection, you can bring that up. Hey, I'm starting a local group here of like-minded people, and I'd like to, invite you or you want to help me set this up. Do you already know people? And then take things from there. Make sure that you really communicate what this is about, that you're wanting to help local communities to create kind of their own little structure and system exchange, but also have a group like an extended family that you can talk to, that become your friends, your allies. It's just a beautiful thing to share these things. I would encourage you to exchange phone numbers, email addresses, and also, once you feel that level of trust, physical addresses. It's very important. So people also have another way of communicating or knowing where to go in a case that the internet goes down or the power doesn't work. I think that's very important. Another thing is talk to your neighbors. Most people underestimate how many people there might be in your area, right around you, that are maybe very like-minded. I mean, these surprises happen to us many times. Talk to them. That's an easy connection. Even if it's only over the fence, meet, talk, share, and then invite them. Also say, hey, do you want to get together? Maybe a bonfire or maybe a cup of coffee, talk more. You wouldn't believe how fast that begins to happen and people get together. Once you have 2, 3, 4 people, even if it's just that for the beginning, really begin meeting regularly, have discussion, and also action points, right? Begin creating this declaration of freedom. What is it that's important to you? What do you all need in your lives? The basic needs, and what are the ways to go about it? We provide many of those solutions to go about it. How to grow food. We've talked about water. We'll bring more of the power, alternative energy, even free energy, but solar, which is already readily available. All these things. Begin talking about it and see if this person's know that and this person knows that, and bring this knowledge together. Again, focus it first on these basic needs. That's what we would encourage you to do. Many groups get caught up in, yes, the spiritual aspect is very important, meditation, prayer, I love that, but that should facilitate the practical actions. I'm a strong believer in focus. I know what it does. And so always make sure you have a plan and you focus on this, and everybody chips in with that, right? Make sure to help each other, you co-create and follow through with these ideas. So for example, if 10, 15 people are in a group, right? And imagine if 10, 15 people get together and they say, hey, you know what? I just saw 2 miles from here, there is an acre of land, half an acre of land. It's fairly cheap. I think we could buy this together and start putting in a food forest, start planting food there. Imagine the impact, let alone 30, 40, 50, 100 people. And everybody chips in a little, or there's someone in a group that has more and says, you know what, I'd like to help more financially, and then the others help more with the action part. All of this can be talked about and created. Make sure every member is a co-creator. Everybody needs to apply themselves, even if on a smaller scale. Maybe some people have less time or have physical disabilities, but everybody needs to do something in this group, and make sure that you bring that up. This is an action plan, right? Then the next thing is have an online presence, but don't depend on it. This is all about a physical group. Yes, you can have a social media group where you can put in dates and stuff like that, but also always think about this is a contingency plan group where when power goes out, the internet goes down, or you don't have access, you should still have a way. Maybe it's radio, ham radios, maybe it's other ways, or you meet somewhere. By the way, if you hear someone snoring, it's Jagger, our dog. He's laying right there snoring. So make sure you have a physical way of communicating with each other. That's why we recommend these groups not to be too far apart from each other, not to be 30, 40 miles apart from each other. Try to keep it in a smaller focus, and then have another group there that does this. And it's very good to be able to be close to each other. Invite speakers, business owners and others who might be very proficient in some subject, or who might be able to help, or you might have synergies. Sometimes the beautiful thing is some business owners in your area might have too much of a certain product that your group could need, or they would throw away something that you could take off their hands, or the group could help the business owner with something and they in turn could help you. Never underestimate local synergies. To me, actually, local stands now for local organizations creating abundance locally. That's what this is in my head. Also, take turns in sharing responsibilities. Make sure everybody chips in, brings food and brings water and helps. It shouldn't be just one person constantly running the show. Make sure you take turns. One time this person puts it on and the other time this person puts it on. If there's a leader that you all feels very inspired to lead, it's not to discourage them, but to support them. So be sure that everybody needs to share in their responsibilities. Let me see what else. Okay, so this is kind of an overview into what are the first steps in creating groups. There's other things that are important that come later on. I would always encourage you to simply, when you establish the group, and you feel like you meet someone at the grocery store or wherever you are and you have an interesting conversation, simply invite them in. Worst that could happen, they're not a good fit, or they might not even show up, but invite people in. Be open-hearted, even if you feel like they might be of a different political affiliation or religious affiliation. Don't let that divide us. Invite people in. Most likely you are more similar than you think. But get started today. You can also put up a little note on a blackboard at your grocery store. Health food markets usually have those blackboards where you can put stuff up. Your library usually has this. Again, you can post it online, but I would focus on the group, on the area that you live in, so you make sure that you get local people. If you have any more questions about this subject, please post them in the comments. But much rather, I'd like to have the comments that say, hey, I got started today. I connected with the first person, or we already got started. We already have a group, and tell us about it. A great example is the Sarasota Freedom Friends, which is Jess and Char, our friends from down in Sarasota. They created this. They started with a potluck and just people getting together, pitching in, bringing food, talking, and great things are happening there. You can check it out at sarasotafreedomfriends.org. All right, Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. This is exciting because this is the alliance, the greatest alliance in human history, the Alliance for Freedom. You are it, and just start today. All right. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.